saw a news article about a guy impersonating a police officer, and I thought I'd do a video to tell you to watch out for guys like that and to give you some safety tips if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're not sure. I'm a former threat assessment specialist. I don't know if I have to say that in every video. Anyway, the story is that a man dressed as a police officer was pulling people over in Oklahoma and was very aggressive with them. Somebody got suspicious, felt something was off, so called the Oklahoma Sheriff's Office and discovered that no, the guy is not a police officer. The man was caught and arrested. Before I tell you who he is, I'm going to ask you not to go and hate on him. That will not make anything better. The accused is 19-year-old Jackson Jones of Tennessee. A quick Google search took me right to his YouTube channel. And when I saw his picture and I saw his videos, I hoped that this wasn't the guy. His ears gave him away though. Here's a picture, here's a mugshot, and here is a picture of the young YouTuber. And here is a picture of him later on. You can see clearly it is the same person. When a big crime hits the news, you hear neighbors saying, but he was such a nice guy. And no, there were no signals. And this is a good opportunity for you to look and see. We basically see this boy grow up on YouTube. He starts out young, he's playing video games, he's talking about his family, he gets a job at McDonald's, all normal stuff. He seems like a nice kid. He's vulnerable. Likes and subscribers seem very important to him. Then you see him slip down a darker path, and it's subtle. It's nothing that a million other kids don't go through as they go through their teenage years. This boy has been struggling for a long time. He's been trying to reach out for a long time. But anyone looking at that, at him, would think he's just going through the same normal crap as every other teenager goes through. It's just that most of us get through it okay. As you go through the channel, you see the mask come on. So all of a sudden, he's not talking freely about himself. He's trying to hide his vulnerability. Then he talks about not being able to find a girl. This seems important to him. And that progresses to, and then he's unhappy because he's found a girl and she doesn't return his affections. Then he's angry. Most kids aren't taught how to handle rejection. Two of the big precipitating factors for violence are loss of a significant person, and that's very often a love interest, and loss of a job. And that brings us to the other thing. He used to work at Campbell County Jail, but got fired for impersonating an officer there. This is a huge red flag. Sadly, this young man has compounded his own problems by doing this. That brings us back to the original story in January 2023. Mr. Jones is 875 miles away from home. What is he doing in Oklahoma? If he does not currently live there, and if he has no legitimate reason to be there, then that is a huge red flag. The questions that we ask in threat assessment is whether or not the subject traveled a distance in order to reach the target. Some of the other questions we ask are around how much commitment, how much time, how much money, how much did the subject invest in attaining his goal, whether that be to harass or commit a crime or what have you. How much investment was there? And in this case, there was a lot. He's far from home. He's obviously spent a lot of time. He's spent money. He's got equipment on him. He's wearing a sheriff's vest. Why was he in Oklahoma? I think that the police need to have that information. It's not like he's going to tell them. He's going to lie to them. He also demonstrated no insight into the seriousness of what he was doing. You can see that on the body camera video.
On out if you don't mind. Drop your cord there. Alright, face the vehicle. I'll just check you for, make sure you don't have any guns or nothing. Okay. Alright, if you wouldn't, that's fine. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and take the vest off and just sit it in the car.
Who are you? Like,
so do you wear this vest carrier on duty?
No.
In the jail?
I mean, like I can. I usually wear it under my hood shirt.
Okay.
What vehicle was it that you stopped and talked to?
I didn't stop at no vehicle.
No, I mean, you said that you stopped and talked
You
to
talked
somebody.
And it was some truck, but then he left out of the parking lot.
Okay.
But all I did, literally, I went up to
Let's go get the vest off for me. And the only reason I'm having you take it off is so I don't have to worry about the knives or anything you may have on you. Really cool. That's fine. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. All right, if you'll just go sit on the curb up there.
Further, when he was asked why he was wearing the vest, he said, because it's comfortable. You're kidding me. This guy needs some serious intervention. I promised you some safety tips. So first, become familiar with the police cars and uniforms in your jurisdiction. Whether you see them on the street or you see them on the news or social media, have a good look at the cars, at the uniforms, and look at the details. If you are familiar with them, you will be more likely to detect something that's off should somebody be impersonating. Second, if you're driving and you're being pulled over by an unmarked car and you're not sure whether that person is a police officer, or maybe you're being pulled over by a marked car but there's something off about it, call 911, tell them where you are, tell them you're being pulled over, and ask them, is this really a police officer, if you're concerned. That also holds true for if you're at home. Somebody comes to the door wearing plain clothes or wearing a uniform, maybe you don't see a cruiser, something's off, and they flash a badge or some ID, or that they say that they're the police, open the door. If you're not sure, call 911. Give them your location, tell them what's happening, tell them what you're concerned about, and they'll help you. They'll tell you if the officer is real or not, and if the person is not a real police officer, 911 will help guide you out of the situation. And lastly, if you know somebody who's impersonating a police officer, report it to law enforcement. that person needs intervention. Law enforcement needs to be aware of that. It is a serious threat indicator. Thanks for watching. If you like this, if you'd like to see more like this, please hit like to let me know.